Hi, I'm here today with Steve Morgan, MD Active Division of Raccoon Media Group, responsible for such things as the National Snow Show, the National Cycling Show, Boston Snowbound Expo, and
Mhm.
the National Outdoor Expo. But also, you have some more exciting plans ahead, I believe.
We definitely do another launch up our sleeves. Well, it's not so much up our sleeves now. It's out there in the wider scheme of things, and that is the Boston Outdoor Expo that we will be holding in Boston at the BCEC. So that's the Boston Convention and Exhibition Centre, and it will be the 27th and 28th of April next year.
I mean, this must come on the back of the success you've had with the National Outdoor Show in this country, and then obviously you've also had the Boston of another part division of Raccoon Media Group is the Boston Running Show as well. So does that kind of lead directly into, well, we've done this in this country and it's been a great success over the last couple of years with the outdoor show, and going, well, there's a market for it in America, a big market. So let's see what we can do out there.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah. Look, we were gonna not we were going to. We launched the National Outdoor Expo in the UK last year. So the second edition is literally just gone. It was the 17th and 18th of March, and it was a bit of a long time coming. The
Yeah.
National Outdoor Expo in the UK, because we had planned to launch it, and then as many things were stopped by COVID, this was definitely one of them. Large scale consumer events got kind of stopped in all kind of forms, which was not great. But we got the launch way last year, and it was just explosive. It
Yeah.
was an absolutely amazing event. The appetite for people getting outdoors and active was huge after the pandemic, and we found that not only was the audience super hungry to engage with the brands, but the brands were also very keen on being on board and being able to communicate what they're about and their story. So yes, we had the second edition of National Outdoor Expo this year, and it again just flew off. It was great. A lot more have a go experiences this year, from climbing walls to zip wires to paddle boarding out in the lake, which was great. And as you quite rightly say, we have a couple of other expos out in Boston, in the States, and one of them is the national, or not the national, the running show Boston, and the one that I actually work on is Snowbound Expo. So we launched Snowbound Expo last year, just shy of 20,000 visitors through the door, which for a launch event is unheard of. It was absolutely amazing. The feedback, energy, and vibe of that expo was just great. So, yeah, we know that there's a big outside and active community in the States. Unfortunately for us, but fortunate for them, they have some great landscapes, and the weather can be a little bit nicer than over here. So they are very much into their outdoor activities, and bringing together that community in the BCEC next year to have a go at bushcraft, have a go on the zip wire, check out all the new brands, see the latest kayaks, canoes, paddle boards, walking boots, everything that you need to get outside and get active will be there. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
I mean, obviously, you know Boston backwards by now after being running there for so long. I mean, one of the things, the highlights of the National Outdoor Expo is the speakers and the special guest lineups that you had there. Are you having kind of, obviously it'd be more American centric, your speaker lineup, but who will you have speaking?
No, that's a really good question. And yes, so all of our large scale consumer events are passion led and content driven. So that means that we work within these industries and sectors that are very much people do them because they love them. And the expos or shows that we put on are very much driven by the content. And that is the brands, which is great, but also the have a go experiences, like the couple of kind of features that I lightly touched on before, but also our stages. So generally speaking, we have a kind of main stage, which will sometimes be called an inspiration stage. That's where we get our explorers, our athletes, our personalities, influencers, all those kind of guys up on the stage talking about their experiences, their stories. And it's called the inspiration stage because it's very much about getting people inspired and fully stoked about getting outside. We also have the skills stage, and that is about really education, knowledge transfer, so that when people go out, into the outdoors and pursue their passion, they are good at it, or at least they've learned enough to have a go at it. Obviously, being safe outside and doing your sport is very important. But going back to the speaker lineup, you're right, there will be a very American or USA centric speaker lineup. However, one of the first ones that we've secured for the Boston Outdoor Expo next year is actually Sir Ranulph Fiennes,
Okay.
Arguably the world's greatest explorer.
Yeah.
So we're pretty stoked about getting him along to the event. And one of the great things that I love about being over in the States, I mean, it's great out there. The people are great, but also they absolutely love the accent. So I'm sure they will be 100% captivated by Sir Ranulph Fiennes when he's up on the stage talking about and recanting about his stories, exhibitions and expeditions.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's one of the world's best known explorers. I mean, say from an American point of view, who have you got from that side of the pond?
We're actually still working on our USA lineup, and that's really because it works a little bit differently out there. Booking people up over a year out is something that's a bit unheard of. We have got a few kind of influencers and kind of speakers on board, but they're not kind of the very top tier ones just yet. We're working on a couple of them, but yeah, we're still waiting to really sign up the vast majority, because we are still over a year out, which is good.
Well, to me, as I say, early days, and watch this space. I mean, I think one of the, you mentioned people having a go at some of the skills and skill sets that you can do. I mean, how does that work? Especially if you've got, like, it's rammed. If you say you've got 20,000 people there, do they line up, or do they have to book a slot, or can they just turn up and then look and see what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of ways. So the stages are kind of mass participation, so people can sit there and hear about or learn about just from being part of the crowd. So that's quite easy for us to do. We can fit probably anywhere between 500 and 600 people at the big kind of stage with seating and standing. So that's pretty easy. Whereas the features, generally we do them as a walk up. I mean, we have done it so you can book online, but what we tend to find is that because all of our features at the show are free to do, people will kind of secure a slot, and then maybe end up not turning up, which isn't great when you've got people there on site. They're like, I really wanted to have a go at that, and you're holding people back because someone's booked a slot. So what we tend to do is walk ups, and it's just a bit fairer. So people come on, see what's scheduled, go to the location of the feature, and just sign your name up and have a go.
I mean, obviously they must be popular because people will go, right, that's something new, or I've heard about this. I've maybe done it once or twice, but how can I get better at it?
And I think that's exactly it. I think you hit the nail on the head there. With every single one of the industries and sectors that we operate in, it is very much a progression is something that people strive for. In snow sports, you want to get a little bit better so you can have a bit more fun going down the mountain. In outdoor, you want to learn a new hiking technique so you can go a bit further, or how you can cook in your camping kind of situation outside. So it's very much about progression and getting better, but then also being safe as well, which is very important.
I mean, you've only kind of recently announced the Boston Outdoor. What kind of reaction have you had?
It was a lot of people were saying, like, oh yeah, okay, we kind of knew this was coming, just because of all the kind of launches and directions and where we've been going, what we've been doing. But massively positive. Especially, I was quite intrigued by the response we got from our UK outdoor exhibitors, because a lot of the guys we deal with over here, over here will be the agencies or the distributor. We do sometimes deal with the brand direct, but a lot of them in the UK scene have said, oh, you need to speak to this person, they'll definitely be up for it, and actually just passing us on to their brand, either director or counterpart in the States. So it's been really good to have that kind of support from our exhibitors, and I think that's quite indicative of the way that we work with all our exhibitors. They are very much our exhibitors. We look after them, we make sure they're taken care of, and they're part of the Raccoon I don't want to say family because that's a bit too cheesy, but that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing as well. Obviously, it will be the American side of people who'll be having their exhibits there, because it's a bit of a trek to go. I mean, how much is involved in the logistics of you setting up in Boston? To getting everything that you need there. Obviously, you're not going to fly or ship everything over, so it's going to be there. So how did that? When you've done it before in Boston, how did the logistics of that differ from, say, the NEC?
No, definitely. Well, I mean, believe it or not, pretty much all of our team, so 95% of our team are based in the UK, and that's from the account managers, so the more sales, commercials guys, along with the operations and marketing. So everyone is over here in the UK, pretty much. We all fly across there, but our majority of our suppliers are obviously based in the States. So very similar to the way that we work over here at the NEC or any other venues that we do events in, is that we bring in suppliers that are either recommended or we've worked with before in that region. So obviously the UK over here, they come over and just install shell scheme, electrics, carpets, graphics, all that kind of stuff. And it's exactly the same model out in the States. There are a few little nuances that I didn't really know about until we'd started properly working over there. So things like drayage is a completely new term and new concept to me, that you have to pay someone to move your table from the entrance to your stand. So that was something that was quite interesting. But generally speaking, it works exactly the same, but over in the States, and we work with suppliers out there. So it's not too much of a headache, really.
Is there anything you'd like to highlight about the show that we haven't touched on yet?
Just really, I suppose that there's if you're into your outdoors, and that's any area of it. So we will have pockets of content for pretty much everything you can do outdoors. So that's kayaking, paddleboarding, hiking, camping, cycling, overlanding. So literally anything that you're interested in or want to discover will be at the expo for you. And just to briefly touch on as well, I know it is a bit of going across the pond, it is a bit of a schlep across there, but and we do expect this to happen on the Outdoor Expo. With the Snowbound Expo, we actually have exhibitors who we work with here in the UK who want to get into the US market. So they're very much joining us for the whole journey. I mean, notably, there's a company that we work with and have worked with since the launch of the snow show here in the UK called Usk. And they are a great, retro brand, ski, snowboard wear. I think they've just launched into swimwear as well. Amazing designs. Like if you want to be eye-catching on the slopes,
they're very 80s kind of bright. They are
very
stuff. Yeah,
definitely. They've got a very distinct style about them, but it's fantastic. But they are joining us at the Snow Show Birmingham, Snow Show London, and the Snowbound Expo in Boston. And they're absolutely fantastic. So, and there's a couple of other brands that do that with us as well. So, and we expect that to kind of happen moving forward for the Boston Outdoor Expo.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Steve. That's great. I think we've touched on a lot there, and I wish you every success with it when you get it up and running and you get out there. So,
awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Mark. That's great.